What's this week like for you, getting ready to go up against your old team?
Yeah, it's a pretty cool experience, but I just gotta take it in like it's any other regular week, and just it's like a nameless, faceless opponent.
What kind of advice have you been giving the team? Any advice on what they might see out of Eastern Washington?
Uh, really just like personnel stuff, like stuff that I, like can pick up. But I mean, as far as you could really just watch on film, and it's just like any other week. You kind of understand what a team's gonna do just based off how much film you watch. So.
Just knowing Eastern Washington, what are some guys we should look out for, or what are some, how's Eastern Washington play that we should look out for?
I mean, they're a hard fighting team. I could tell you that they're gonna fight to the whistle, and to the end of the game, and they're gonna come in here and think that they could beat us just like how anybody else will. So,
just player wise, is there anyone who's standing out to you?
I would say just the quarterback. They run the ball a lot, so I would just say him. Yeah.
What's this journey been like for you? Just kind of going through the transfer portal, ending up at Boise State. Kind of what's it all been like for you?
Yeah, it's been a journey. I just been putting my faith in God and just letting Him, do His work through me, and just all I could do is just put in all the hard work I can, and how whatever He wants for me, is bound to happen.
What was it that brought you to Boise State, or what made you enter the transfer portal?
Yeah, I mean, I always, it's a goal of mine just to be the best possible self for me, and it felt like I was kind of getting lackadaisical where I was, and just to better myself and become, the best person spiritually, mentally, and just the best football player I could be. It felt like I needed to take, a stride to become that, and Boise, when I first got here, on my visit, it was pretty evident that this is the place for me, and that's why I was able to make a quick decision, and I'm happy I made it.
You had a pretty good season last year. You won leading tacklers for them. What was your role? How did you judge your season last year for them?
Yeah, I was a leader. That's my personality. Whether it's by example or speaking, I'm always find a way to lead, and that season is over now, and I just gotta keep finding different ways to build on that and just be better.
So you played one snap, I think, or only a couple in the last game. So how's that go from being a star player and putting up big stats, and now trying to start back at the bottom and work your way, back onto the field?
Yeah, I mean, it's tough. It could mess up your mental if you think about it, negatively. But I'm thankful for where I am, because I know where I was, and I just take it as it just gives me like a different kind of energy, and just everything's just to detail, just everything matters. So I'm just thankful for the opportunity, and best believe every snap that I get, that is going to be my best.
Spencer was saying yesterday, he said like you're coming along, right? So like, where do you feel like you need to kind of continue to make strides and grow so that you can, earn more snaps and stuff like that?
I think I just need to open up myself more. If I had to say, obviously I think that's the hardest part about transferring, is you're kind of so close, and you're yourself at your old school, and now you come in and it's like, just for me, I just got to open myself and just be myself more, and as time goes on, that's going to happen. So that's what's going on right now.
Not to pry, but what does that mean for you? Are you a jokester? Are you more vocal, or is there what is it that makes you feel comfortable, I guess?
I would just say the people around me. I've been getting closer with guys, so I've just been able to talk a lot more, and just go out there and just play how I can. So when I play fast, coaches have said there's nobody that can stop me. But just being out there and just be able to play loose and just be myself.
Going from the red inferno to the blue is something that not every player can experience, just the fields. So what are your overall thoughts being able to play on this field?
Yeah, I mean, it's a blessing to play on the blue. Obviously, very unique. Nowhere else like it, and I'm just, I'm ready to protect it.
Aaron Best has been a part of that Eastern Washington program, either as a player coach for, I think, 28 of the last 29 years. Just what does he bring to that program, and just how does he really shape the culture of it?
Yeah, Coach Best, he's a great guy, proud alumni, and he he's not gonna let nobody take their logo for granted or just the field. Like, you know, he loves that school and loves the program, and you know, just like how any head coach would, you know, he's not gonna let nobody take that for granted or disrespect that. So, you know, a lot of pride comes from that, you know, just with him being alumni.
You look at some of the D1 teams they've beaten in recent years too. I mean, is that something that they're making you guys aware of and stuff? That they've beaten some pretty good teams in the last decade.
Yeah, I mean, we know they're one of the better FCS programs, and so, you know, like I said, they're gonna come in here with a chip on their shoulder and feel like, you know, they're better than us, and, you know, just try to beat us. So, you know, we're definitely knowing that we have to respect all and fear none.
What have you seen the last couple of days in practice? And I know there was a lot made about the effort level in that first game and the mentality, and Spencer's been pretty open about it. You got to earn your. We're going to find 11 guys that want to give 100%. I mean, how have you noticed that message come across to you guys?
Yeah, I mean, it's very, you know, clear on what it is that they're looking for, and you know, you can't play football here unless you have effort and a mentality. And so, you know, in the last game, you know, you watch the film, and you know, you just take away from scheme, and if you just take away scheme and all that, you know, and technique, and you just look at somebody's effort, that's just not the team we are. And you know, it's disappointing to say after the game, but you know, as like a family, we just got to build on that.
You know, honestly, I mean, like, challenging like X's and O's and execution is one thing, right? But like, kind of will or effort, it just seems like another. So as a player, how does that maybe hit differently?
Yeah,
Or
I mean,
does it?
you know, it does. You know, I'm very strong on where there's a will, there's a way. So, you know, if you truly want something, and like your effort shows how much it means. So, you know, just, you know, going out there, and you know, like our coach has said, like you kind of take it kind of personally. You know, if you're one of your brothers or, you know, a coach or whoever it may be isn't giving their all, you know, you kind of take it personally because we're all in this together.
What sparks your will, if you will?
My will, you know, just God. You know, that's the main reason why I do everything in my family. You know, so just being out there and doing that, and just the opportunity that these coaches have gave me to come out here, you know, just a bigger opportunity. It's just, you know, and all the love and that everybody gives me, you know, everybody pushes me and so positive, you know, it's like, I love the people next to me, and I got that love for them fast. So, you know.
With Friday being your first game back on the field back here, what are you being told to expect, and what are you expecting from the atmosphere?
Yeah, I mean, it's gonna be my first time, but I know it's gonna get loud, so you know, communication is gonna be key. But you know, I mean, I know it's gonna be a night game, so I mean, just treat it like any other game. You know, you can't really let the environment get to you, because you know you already lost if you do.
After what you guys went through last week, how nice is it going to be to have a friendly crowd behind you?
I mean, it's gonna be cool. I mean, everybody wants to play at home, but you know, to be honest, you know, home or away games, you know, you don't listen to it. You know, it didn't matter if we were playing in Australia, like we don't listen to it. You know, but it's definitely nice to be home and just, you know, show our fans some love and just protect the blue, the wonderful place that we have.
Coach Jameson also spoke about just everything is still in front of you guys. So just from a player's perspective, how have you seen everyone kind of embrace that? You still have a long way to go.
Yeah, I mean, you know, last week sucks. We gotta, you know, forget about that and build on it. But yeah, he's right. You know, everything is right in front of us. You know, you don't plan everything out. I mean, some things don't go as planned. So, you know, everything that we want, you know, all our goals is still right here. So, you know, we can't get discouraged. We just got to be strong and courageous.
Of all the teams you could have played this year, the way the schedule could have worked out, I mean, when did you find out that you were going to be playing against your former team?
Right when I signed. You know, I didn't really look at the schedule or anything, but right when I signed, I realized, and then, you know, I flew back there, and, you know, I had talked with my coaches and all my teammates, you know, obviously, and all that. And, you know, we kind of started talking then, but, you know, it's kind of surreal and how crazy, you know, time flies, and now it's here. So it's time to go.
Have you been talking to any of your old teammates this week, or do you tell them, hey, let's just stay away from the talk this week?
Yeah, it's kind of like unspoken, like rule, like, you know, I'll see you when I see you. Yeah.
With I think when he came here, I think we all just kind of pictured you as a nickel.
Mm-hmm.
And going to safety? Like, how do you feel like that fits you?
I mean, I've always been a safety. Not too much of the nickel. I know at my last school, I bounced around from field to boundary, but ultimately, I feel like where I'm at in the boundary is the place for me, and where they see me making the post plays at, which I did last year. So just keep figuring out ways to be better at it.
Yeah, I think it was 98 tackles. What type of effort does it take to get 98 tackles from that position?
Yeah, I mean, exactly what they, recruited me for, and exactly what we talked about last week. It's just effort and mentality. It doesn't matter if it's behind the line of scrimmage or 90 yards down the field. Like, I got to get to the ball. Like, there's one goal, and like there's, one thing on my mind when I'm on the field, and just get to the ball. So.
Okay.